doing? Welcome. I missed you. It's been forever.
It has been forever, kind of. It's been at least forever since we've been recording. It's been
Well, you didn't want to answer any of my calls this week, per usual.
Or I was dying. Let's not forget that,
Oh,
okay?
yeah, sure. Let death take precedence again. But yeah, so cool. So cool.
Real.
So here we are.
Also, wait, did I show you or tell you about my Yahtzee pillow?
You did tell me, and I did see it on Snapchat, but the fact that I get to see it live right now.
Look at his cute face.
He is much cuter as a pillow.
And he's much more well behaved.
I had no idea what you were going to say to that. I thought you were going to be like, bitch. Oh,
Nope.
man.
Poor little kitten. He was so sad when I was sick because I couldn't, pay attention to him. So now anytime I come out of my room, he's like, Mom, love me.
Aw. Can I just say that, today, ugh, I hate when I do that. This week,
Yeah.
when I was in my saddest of times, because, life is a roller coaster, and sometimes we be feeling sad. And
Yep.
I was feeling real sad, and I still had to go to work because I'm a responsible human being. And there's this new guy at work, and he plays Spanish music in the kitchen. He plays reggaeton, and I was literally like,
Yeah.
I have not said, hell yes, exactly. I have not said one thing to this person because here's my policy when it comes to new people. I am not going to talk to you until you prove to me that you are not an unstable person.
Or an idiot.
Or an idiot. I need proof of both because I have made mistakes in the past. So at this point, I just wait it out. And I'm like, if you're still here a month from now, we may have a conversation.
I feel that.
So, but he started playing that music in the kitchen, and I literally was, on the verge of tears all that whole day. And so I was like, oh, my God, you have no idea how much this is giving me life. I love it. This is how I work. This is how I live.
I needed this today, okay, guys? I really needed this.
I really needed, my Ozuna, my Darel, my Bad Bunny. I needed it all, my J Balvin.
How do you forget about Nicky Jam? Oh my God!
I was about to say Nicky Yam. Stop. I was building up to it, but fine.
I just remembered that I had an inappropriate dream about Nicky Jam.
Yo, can I just tell you, speaking of inappropriate dreams, I've been having the weirdest dreams lately, which has been making me even more crazy than usual because it's I wake up and I'm like,
what just happened?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, the creepy, freaky dreams where it's half of the dream you're trying to figure out how you're going to live with what just happened. You know what I mean? And you're like, how am I going to go on in life? And that. And then you wake up and you're like, oh, it was a dream. Okay. All right. Fuck. Okay.
No, that happens to me all the time. So I don't know if I've told you this, but most of my dreams are bad dreams. I will legit have dreams about the end of the world, zombie apocalypse, blah blah blah, running for our lives, being chased like a monster. 90% of my dreams are terrible. Oh, you too? Yay, it's genetic.
Oh no, I was raising my hand because I had a question.
Oh, okay, what?
Do you ever look up your dreams?
Sometimes, but I feel like that stresses me out more.
Well, no, because often things that are stressful or upsetting in dreams can actually have different sort of connotations or meanings. And it's take everything with a grain of salt. You know your situation better than anyone else. But sometimes it's just interesting to get a different perspective because I had a friend who was having really weird dreams about a man who was on fire. Yeah, no, it wasn't me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I wish I had this dream. No, he kept having a reoccurring dream about a man who was on fire who was chasing him. And
yeesh.
Yeah, and he said that he was terrified of it. Okay, well I looked it up and it was you're going to be really successful. This is your passion that is, it might feel overwhelming, but you're going to have a great success. And I mean, he's been doing pretty well, so it's you know.
See, I have come to the conclusion that my bad dreams about... Okay, so my recurring dreams tend to be like hauntings, a zombie apocalypse, or apocalypse in general, trying to figure out who a murderer is, or, weirdly, I have a lot of dreams with tornadoes in them, and we're trying to, like, get shelter from a big storm. But since all of these things tend to be super stressful situations, I've, like, come to the conclusion in my own head, which I don't know how accurate it is, but, like, that it's my brain's way of processing just daily stress.
Right, yeah.
And then, like, because I don't wake up and I'm still, like, upset or afraid or anything like that. Like, it's just, like, I don't know, it's the norm for me at this point, which,
right.
Who knows? But, yeah, I just figure it's my body's way of, like, trying to figure out how to handle, like, daily stressors.
Well, no, yeah, and that makes sense with, like, the stuff that you're saying. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, if I have a dream, it's gonna be a weird dream. Like, I would say maybe, like, 1 out of 10 dreams that I remember is, like, a weirdly good dream. But I don't know. I don't know about this one. I had a dream one time that I was in that I was in a pool, and it was like glowing and really beautiful, and there were all of these fish in the pool that were like really, really beautiful fish, and like, I don't have a thing for fish. I don't like the touch. I don't like the smell. I don't like the fish. Like, I can appreciate them from afar, but for me to be like in a pool of fish and be like, oh, they're so beautiful, they're so pretty, blah blah blah. Blah. And there's
out of
like
character, yeah.
Yeah, and there's like all these other animals that are like kind of around me, but I'm in this sort of like glass room, and it was really beautiful. And then these fish kept coming up to me and kissing me. Like, not on the lips, but like they were just like kissing me. I'm in the pool and they're like coming up to me and kissing me, and literally, boop, 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 boop. Yeah, it was like very sweet and cute, and I was like, oh, like struck by it in my dream. Woke up, looked it up, and it was like, yeah, you're probably pregnant.
Did you die? I'm sure you
Slightly,
died.
because at the time there were other symptoms where I was concerned about that. I was already concerned that was a thing, and I had no idea that dreaming about fish was a thing, but dreaming about fish very much is a thing for pregnant women, and I was like, what the fuck? Luckily, y'all, there's no kid here, so no, mama wasn't pregnant, but yeah.
I don't ever remember having a dream about fish when I was pregnant, but I did have some wild pregnancy dreams, not gonna lie.
Really?
They get super intense and just very strange. Yeah.
Yeah, man, dreams are weird. Dreams are really weird. I had a lot of dreams at your house that were really weird, actually.
Ooh.
I don't really remember them. I just remember, like, everything was very vivid. I get very vivid dreams when I'm away from home.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
My chair's like,
Yeah. Like, what do you mean there, Emily? You know, one of my earliest nightmares that I can remember is I had to have been like 4 and you were like 2. And we were supposed to be going to bed, but you were a 2-year-old, so you were having a temper tantrum.
Is this in real life or in the dream?
This is in real life. And so, I fell asleep while you were having a temper tantrum. And in my dream, you turned into a monster on the bottom bunk. But a monster that looked like the bat from Fern Gully.
Y'all, that movie is traumatizing. Stop showing it to people.
It is. But yeah, so that's one of my earliest nightmares that I remember was that you turned into a monster. I was like, what happened to my sister?
That's hilarious.
Yep.
Did I ever tell you what my first bad dream was?
What?
It was in the Feltwell house. We were still sharing a room. I was on the bottom bunk, haunting you, apparently. No, but I had a dream that we were the age that we were. I don't remember how old I was. I mean, maybe like 5. And
if we were in Feltwall, you were probably like 6 to 8.
Okay, so then maybe 6. I don't know. It was when we were in the corner room. You know how there were those 2 back rooms? Yeah. So it was in that corner room. And I had a dream that we were in Nebraska in the field, or like, you know, the lawn that was between like the 2 like rows of duplexes.
The 2 apartments. Yeah.
Yeah. And we had I shit you not, this is such a bad dream. Oh my god. That I had a pack of like double stuffed Oreos. And they were ours. Like, somebody gave them to us, and we were like, yes, we get Oreos. Num num nums. Num nums for us, Sarah.
Yeah.
And a fox came up and was trying to, like, swipe or no swiping us, was trying to, like, get the Oreos from us. And I was like,
Excuse
me. And we spent the whole dream running away from the fox, and then I woke up and I was like,
traumatized. Oh, you poor thing.
I literally like invented Dora the Explorer in my mind before it even was a thing.
Yeah, before it actually happened.
Yeah, it's like I wonder if that's like a common dream for kids to have a fox like try to steal some shit from them. And I'm surprised that it wasn't like a coyote or a wolf from the stupid Mouse Girl's tale.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It was the coyote, but maybe you pictured it like a fox because a fox is somewhat close to a coyote? I don't know.
And we're back from outer space. We just
walked
walked in to find you here with that sad look. This does not work when it's on.
Nope, sure does not. But we know that we could have done a good job.
We know in just 1 second you'll be back to bother me.
Go. Walk out the door. Anyways.
Just now.
Stop it.
I swear. That I always use as the example of like the first viral video.
Right?
I'm like,
yes.
Did you guys not know? Mr. McNamara got an email about an alien.
An alien dancing to that song.
I swear, I feel like that should be more iconic for more people.
It should. How come it's not?
If anyone has seen that video, fuck, I'm about to look it up. Shit.
No. We have to start doing things.
The continual derail into our past. Come on. I will survive alien song. Alien song video clip. Yeah. Yes. It does exist.
Of course it does.
All right, so go look it up.
That's like the Ooga Chaka baby.
Sure. I don't know anything about that baby, but I know that there is an alien that sings I Will Survive, and you can find it on YouTube. Oh, I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah, it took me a second. Are you ready? Do you see you?
Yes, I'm so sorry. Okay, go.
I'm here to report on the status of the sports ball. That's what I look like. I just need a little...
What, like this?
In front of my
like
face.
This?
Yes! Oh my god, look at you. You're so a fish.
I'm not. Those are my gaming headphones.
Oh, well. They don't look anything like a fish, in case anyone was wondering.
Stop it. Stop.
Speaking of fish, I am this week talking about Lake Baikal.
You know what it makes me think of?
Also,
wait.
What?
Oh my god. Avatar, The Last Airbender, Lake, I'm pretty sure it's Lake Baikal. It's really close.
Stop. Is it really?
Hold on, I'm going to look it up.
Oh my god, me too. What do you mean? Is it really? Avatar Lake?
Lake.
Is that what I searched?
Oh, no, sorry. It's Lake Laogai.
Oh, well, that's very different.
But there's still a lake with mysteries, so...
How do you know this lake has mysteries?
Okay. Anyway, so, Lake Baikal.
Lake Baikal, yes. So, originally, my interest in Lake Baikal was because of, it was, generated because of a creepypasta that I read on Reddit a while ago, which was like... My first inspiration to get a Reddit account was realizing that all those clickbait articles that they advertise on Facebook of, like, the 10 weirdest things to happen on water, or, like, the 10 creepiest things that ever happened in North Dakota. I'm obviously going to click on that BuzzFeed article, but 9 times out of 10, all of their sources are from an Ask Reddit thread. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I don't know why I'm dealing with this middleman. I need to just get a Reddit account. So I primarily follow creepy things on Reddit because and one of these was like what's the people who like I don't know what I was about to say, but like people who like are on ships or are on the water, like what's the creepiest thing that ever happened to you? And one of the stories I read, whether it's true or not, one of the alleged stories was about Lake Baikal, and it was this kid who said, like, when they were younger, they went camping on Lake Baikal, and they canoed out to one of the many islands that are in the lake, and they were hanging out there. They pulled their canoe. There was no other boat up at the lake, okay? Mm-hmm. And as they're, like, hanging out there for the night, this kid comes up out of, like, the woods on the island. And they're talking to them, and he seems normal, like there's no obvious sign that he's like in distress. So like they hang out with him and they talk to him and whatever. They fall asleep and they wake up the next morning on the island, and this kid is nowhere to be found. They get back to shore and they're like, hey, there was a kid on the island, and he was our friend, but we didn't see him leave. Did anyone come and pick him up? Because this is really weird. And basically the story was like, oh, well, did he look like this? Mm-hmm. Holds up a picture of said kid. And they were like, yeah, that looks like him. And they're like, yeah, well, he's been missing for over 2 years.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Wait, but does that mean that he's alive or dead then?
I don't know. But I mean, like, I think the interesting part for me was when they were like, yeah, he seemed normal. Because if someone had been missing for 2 years and were on an island surviving, I'm sure they wouldn't look normal. Like, I'm sure they'd look a little like Survivor Man. Like, they'd have a little bit of Bear Grylls, fashion sense going on.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Which, in my mind, is Michael Scott duct taping cutting his pants off and duct taping them into a tent.
Yeah. Yep.
And if I stumbled across that person, I'd be like, oh, that checks out. Yeah, they are on this island. Y'all should go get them. But yeah, so it was written much better than that, and it really creeped me out. And so I was like, oh, in the future, I'm going to look up weird stuff about Lake Baikal. And that's just what I have done.
There's more weird stuff?
Yeah.
So there's an island in the lake.
There are many islands in the lake. Actually, it has over 27 islands.
27?
Oh, yes, or exactly 27 islands. One of the islands in Lake Baikal is 45 miles long and is called Olkhon, or that's what I will pronounce it as, and it is the third largest lake island in the world.
Wow.
So, cute little fun fact about that. That's a pretty big lake island.
I was going to say, you said 45 miles long?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know how long, like, Manhattan is, but I'm sure it is not as long.
A 45-mile long island in a lake where there are also 26 other islands. That's just crazy.
Right. Yeah. I'm now looking up how long is Manhattan Island, because I like to be informed.
And we have the Google machine now.
Oh, 13.4 miles.
Wait, what?
Manhattan Island is 13.4 miles long. So this is like 3 Manhattans.
Wow, yeah.
Right?
Like 3 and a bit. But yeah.
3 and a bit. Wow. That's nuts. So yeah, so Lake Baikal is actually the oldest and deepest freshwater lake in the world.
Ooh. Wait, where is this?
In Russia, in Siberia.
Ah, Russia.
Yeah.
The motherland.
The
Please edit that cackle out, but it was worth it because I saw your face.
Which cackle?
Rude.
No, I was saying like which one. But that also.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually, it is the largest and deepest freshwater lake in the world, which I feel like people are always like, oh, what about the Great Lakes? Which, like, I'm not sure. Are those freshwater? I should know that. I live in America,
I was gonna say.
No one ever told me. I didn't grow up here.
Yes, you did.
Stop outing me. Gosh.
Sorry.
I'm from Spain. My name is Hilaria.
There you go. They are definitely freshwater lakes because they're lakes, not seas. Isn't a lake freshwater, and if it's a sea, then that's because it has salt in it? That's not how that works.
But why would they call it a freshwater lake? Why wouldn't they just call it a lake?
Because...
No, that doesn't make sense. If all lakes are freshwater... Googling saltwater lakes. This is what happens.
This is how we came up with the idea for this.
Ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh my God, saltwater lake. The Great Salt Lake. Hello, Salt Lake City.
Oh,
goodbye. But yeah, no, there are other salt lakes, but yes, seas are applicable to the topic of conversation.
Okay. Glacial lakes, what?
Yeah, the Great Salt Lake is... I think, is it the only salt lake in the U.S.? Okay, we're on a tangent. I'm coming back to Lake Baikal.
But it's just confusing.
Yeah,
well, then why don't they call it a tiny sea?
Because it's super fresh, super cute, and it's... Yeah.
But how much cuter would it be if it was named...
The Fresh Sea?
No, the Tiny Sea.
No, it'd be like the freshest sea around.
The freshest sea. So fresh, so cute, so fresh, so salty?
Cute, so fresh. It's not salty. So actually, what's interesting is that Lake Baikal is like on a continental rift, and so a lot of scientists believe that it is the beginning of a new sea, and that's where a new sea will start because it's like slowly spreading apart. Yeah, fun facts. And it is actually, at 25 million years, it is the world's most ancient lake. So it's the deepest, oldest freshwater lake. It's 25 million years old, and its depths have never changed, which is a big deal for lakes because, a lot of the time their depths will fluctuate based on the conditions of the surrounding environment.
That makes sense.
And most lakes generally are about 10,000 to 40,000 years old. Millions of years is unheard of. That is Lake Baikal. So yeah, it's just a super cute, super fresh, super ancient, crazy lake. And it is about 5 to 7 miles, I think, deep. A part of that is sediment. I think it's 4 something miles of that is sediment. So it's almost as deep as the Mariana Trench, just as reference, because the Mariana Trench freaks me the hell out, and I want to know what's going on in there, but I don't want to be anywhere near it. So yes, so it's similar to that. They're both, I think, continental rifts as well, but it is not a salty crack. So.
Are you sure?
It's got that going for it. Yeah.
It's a fresh crack.
It is the freshest crack around and has been for quite some time. Yep. Yeah. So another thing that's just crazy about this lake, it has crystal clear waters, and oxygen circulates up from the bottom of the lake spring style, and consistently, like, circulates the water so it stays clean. So it's completely safe to drink from as well.
Wow.
Which is just, again, crazy that it's been around for 25 million years. And, like, you could literally be like, yeah, I'm going to have a gulp of that, which scares the fuck out of me. I don't know why you would do that, but...
Also, I'm surprised,
I guess
like, humans haven't found a way to ruin it yet, to be honest with you.
To be quite fair, I'm very surprised that there's not, like, Baikal bottled water, like, in every fucking convenience store around, and I shudder to think if I gave anyone that idea, please don't.
Say,
no, thank you.
Nestle,
goodbye.
She's joking. JK, guys.
Shut the fuck up. Don't call them out. They don't need to. Shh. Nestle, go back to your business. Don't listen to us.
We eat your chocolate, don't worry. Okay, bye.
No, actually, I eat Aldi's chocolate. I don't eat Nestle. Unless Nestle owns whatever Aldi's
Probably
distributes. Fuck.
They own everything.
They own everything. Okay, so since the lake is so old, there are a legend about the lake and how it came to be. And obviously, it's like since humans have been around, our history is like a little blip in the lake's history. Just a little meep. Yes, there is, like, one fun thing that I just thought was, like, super cute and fun.
Super cute and fun.
This was, like, yeah, I think this was a quote that I found possibly on the Smithsonian website. I'm pretty sure it was. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was. Local lore claims that Jesus took a short walk to Lake Baikal and back during his days of desert wandering, which, like, makes it sound like Jesus was, like, wandering the desert looking for the place, like, that he was going to build his new home for his HGTV series. Like, it just has a very weird vibe about it. Like,
okay,
during
but,
his days
like,
of desert wandering...
But,
he
like,
found a really cute location on the edge of the lake.
I was gonna say, but during his desert wandering, he was just, chilling with the devil. So maybe the devil just was like, hey man, you wanna go see this cool lake? Yeah, let's go, bro. Alright, we're gonna go over to this lake that's super old. Have a little sippy sip, maybe walk along the top of it, walk on water, and then skedaddle.
If I have learned anything from watching Lucifer, it is that the devil has great taste in interior design. So I would watch that HGTV show, for the record.
And also, that seems like something the devil would do.
It sure does. It sure does. Because it's like, why the fuck not? You got kicked out of heaven. You might as well make the best of it, baby.
Exactly. Please do that again.
Baby. In my fucking fleece like an old man. Anyways. Yeah. So, there are lots of legends about the lake. Okay. And a lot of them involve, quote unquote, fire-breathing deities.
Oh, what?
Which, if we just close our eyes and imagine a fire-breathing deity, I'm pretty sure we only see a one thing. And it's also the same thing that guards Gringotts Bank from thieves.
And also treasure in general.
Yeah. Hashtag smog.
Yeah,
Hashtag
exactly.
the desolation of.
Shut up, God.
Also, speaking of Avatar, earlier, you were like, this is the lake from Avatar. Well, here's a legend from Avatar, and I wish that I could read it in the Avatar voice, but I'm gonna do my freaking best, okay?
Last week on Avatar.
Okay, yes. Now imagine the beginning, alright? According to legend, a fire-breathing deity lives deep in the waters of the lake. Traditionally, it was considered that there were 4 dragon kings in the world who were brothers and ruled the seas in all 4 cardinal directions of the world. The Western Sea was the Indian Ocean. The Southern Sea was the South China Sea. The Eastern Sea was the East China Sea. And the Northern Sea was Baikal.
Okay, we need to actually start recording videos with this, though, so we can have that included, because this is priceless.
So you can have my bending.
I was going to say,
bending,
just so
my
everyone's
water
aware,
bending, earth bending, fire bending, all the bending.
She was definitely bending all the elements while she was narrating. It was beautiful. Yep.
Okay. The legend says the fire-breathing deity, or dragon,
Yeah.
controls all the living creatures in Lake Baikal, and even the lives of the people living on the coast of the lake. But where is the dragon now? That's for you to decide.
Or for the avatar to find. That's what it sounds like.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So the legend says that, and this is what I think is the best part. It's just very visual, and I'm obsessed with it. As soon as the first stars were lit in the sky and the great sun rose above the earth for the first time, a golden chariot descended from the sky and a fire dragon came out of it. Badass. And thank you for the imagery.
Yeah.
This is what I appreciate about legends.
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all are doing it right. Thank you. All right. So he comes down from the sky. The first blow of his tail made the mountains fall apart to form a deep crevice. The second blow of his tail...
I'm
the
sorry.
fresh crack. It is the oldest, freshest crack on the planet.
It's definitely fresh, you're right.
Third blow covered the area with rich vegetation, and then living creatures started to inhabit the area. After that, the almighty dragon went into the lake, and it became his new earthly home. Okay? The legend goes on to say that the dragon came out to the land every 126 years, which, like, is an odd amount of time.
Hey, maybe he's just introverted. We don't know.
I mean, maybe every 126 Earth years is like 1 year for him.
Maybe that's just how long he hibernates for.
Yeah, it could be. Maybe that's just his winter.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so when he comes out to land, the people who lived around the lake, which called themselves the Sons of the Fire Dragon, held festivals in the dragon's honor, and they offered abundant sacrifices to their deity. Over time, the people began to forget about the dragon, which every 126 years seems like a little random number, you know? It's a little bit random, so I, can understand if, like, 1 year they were like, oh, shit, my ancestors already passed away, and they forgot to tell me the exact date, you know? Anyways, I'm just saying, it could get confusing after a while.
I mean, that's like how many generations? Like 3 at least. If you're, like, really stretched. Yeah.
Yeah, we're basically ants on a log to this guy. And, it's true. So he came out, and they forgot about him, and he had become angry, naturally. The legend says that the dragon's anger shook the land. It was flooded by the waters of the sacred lake and destroyed all the living things on its banks all the way up to the great ocean. And the ungrateful sons of the dragon disappeared from the face of the earth, which is very Noah's Ark.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah. So I find it interesting. I always find it interesting how, like, even religious parables and just stories from around the world kind of have, like, a similar through line. It's very spooky to me, because it's like they have no association to each other whatsoever. And I don't know the timeline of this legend, or, like, really, like, whether it was AD or BC, when it came about.
I was actually going to ask you that.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's just one of the first major legends about the lake was about this dragon and how there were 4 dragons that ruled the seas, which, like, I wonder if that had something to do with Avatar and, like, the 4 elements, and I don't know.
Yeah, but Avatar isn't the only thing that talks about the 4 elements. I mean, that's, like, a basic thing. Hell, look at the 5th element. Like...
Yeah, I mean, this is, like, the 4 cardinal directions, which I thought, compared to, like, Avatar and, like, other things that compare, like, to the elements and have elemental powers involved.
But if you want to get into that, the 4 cardinal directions are also associated with the 4 elements.
Well,
like,
then I'll
north is air, east is... I don't remember. Mom would know better. But they have their own associations, too.
So what, south is fire?
Maybe, that's...
East and west might be sea, might be water and land.
I don't know. You'd have to ask Mom. Ask Mom.
All right, let me get her. Mom! No, I'm just kidding. It's way too late.
Wait, I'm gonna look it up.
Okay.
But you can keep talking, obviously.
Oh, well, let me talk while you pay attention to
I'm paying attention!
This was an interesting thing that I found, which I don't feel like is true. But Buriat legend is said to strengthen the story with their mention of the creature. They call it Lusad Khan or Usan Labsan Khan.
What?
I don't know if that's correct. Yeah. Which means water dragon master. Which,
water dragon master?
Yeah, water dragon master. Yeah. According to the legend, Bogatir Horodoi was chasing a water dragon, and he visited the largest Baikal island of Alkan, and there he was met with the beast. However, then the beast turned into a beautiful girl, and they got married and had kids, which, wonder what those kids looked like, and good thing she was a dragon and not the other way around.
Those are the things we think about. Also, that just makes me think of Shrek with...
Yes.
With the donkey dragon children.
Yes, I just watched Shrek 2 recently.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
It is. Not the gumdrop button. I fucking love it.
Okay, wait, real quick. I was wrong. North is air, east is air. No, north is earth, east is air, west is water, and south is fire.
Yay, I was right.
Wait, how are you right? I was...
Because I said south is fire.
Yeah.
I was right about one thing.
One out of 4.
So there's a lot of religions and a lot of spiritualism surrounding the lake as well. Shamanism, which is one of the world's oldest faiths, is heavily practiced at Lake Baikal and is still observed to this day. There's, there was like sort of like a pilgrimage in like the 18th century of Buddhism and other religions sort of coming to the lake to observe like the spirituality of it. Everyone sort of believes it's actually called the Golden Pillar, or the Pearl of Russia. Because of its like, yeah, I think the Pearl of Russia is more of like because it's a really super cute, super fresh, super ancient lake, and it's not a salty crack.
Yep.
So they're like, it's a pearl, it's not a salty crack. But the Golden Pillar was actually it's from shamanism. So according to shamanism, the universe is divided into 3 worlds: the upper world, Earth, and the underworld. And these worlds are connected by a cosmic axis called...
the Golden Pillar.
You guessed it. That's right, ma'am. The Golden Pillar. It's recognized as the center of the universe by Buriats in the Baikal region, and the place of penetration of the individual worlds.
Yuck. Do not like that. Thank you.
Well, that,
Yeah,
anyways.
okay. Wonderful.
I meant that more in like an arrow, like a stake, kind of way. Anyways. So the upper world is inhabited by gods, the underworld by demons, and the center, which is Earth, obviously by humans and physical beings. And so shamans can interact and communicate with spirits from each world. So, yeah. But there's all kinds of religions. There's the old believers of the Russian Orthodox Church have lived there for more than 300 years. It's just a very big hub for religious activity. So I feel like shamanism and the old believers of the Russian Orthodox Church are like the most traditional of that region specifically, as opposed to like the Buddhism and like the Christianity that like sort of migrated or came there in after the 18th century or around that time. Here's a fun thing.
Wait, but it had to have been before then if Jesus went there to like walk on the water and have some sips of the water, right?
Well, Jesus was around. Like, he was doing his thing. But, like, now that Christians are on social media, they're like, oh, people think this is the golden pillar and penetration point of the world.
Can you just stop saying
we need
that?
To be there.
Like, God.
Well, I feel like Christians need to penetrate every fucking corner of the earth, so I think it's appropriate.
It's fair.
Yeah. One of the fun things that I stumbled across was that, that they're very welcoming to other people, like trying to practice their own sort of spiritualism at the lake or around the area, and it's very common. But one of the things is that I believe it's a shamanistic tradition where they will, like, make a wish by tying a piece of fabric or, like, a prayer, oh my god, what do they call it? Like a prayer flag? You know what I mean? Anyways, they're tying, like, a thing to a tree. I thought it was a prayer flag, but I might be wrong.
I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Anyways, but they tie a piece of fabric or, like, piece of string to the tree to make a wish, okay? And locals believe that a wish made at Lake Baikal will come true, but only if you make your wish in silence and if you don't ask for too much.
Those are the expectations that I think that everyone should have of me. Like, yes, you can wish for things, but, don't expect too much and say it quietly.
No, keep it to yourself. Say it in silence.
Yeah, that's even better. Keep it to yourself. I don't need to hear it.
Exactly.
Just silently.
But it may come true.
It may.
We don't know.
It may.
There's a chance. Yep. There's a chance. So another funny thing, well, not funny, not like funny haha, but like,
I just think it's funny how.
It's part of. Exactly. No, but apparently local fishermen will practice rituals every day before leaving harbor. And they will offer gifts up to the lake. Normally, it is gifts of wine. If they're not offering it up to the lake themselves, which I'm like, this is a crystal clear, pristine lake from everything that I'm reading online. And you're just like dumping a bottle of like Syrah into the lake.
If they're Russian, they're pouring vodka and it's clear.
Yeah, but it says wine.
Never mind. My theory is wrong.
It's okay. So they either offer it gifts of wine or they offer it gifts of wine by drinking it themselves, which I'm like, if that helps you catch a ton of fish and it has every single time, then like rosé all day, babe. Like, do what you gotta do.
I'm very, emotionally tied to Lake Baikal. Don't have too many
It's calling you
I was going to say, don't have too many expectations. Keep it to yourself. Also, give me wine. Thank you.
Also, give me wine and a good time and keep the spookiness to yourself. However, if I get to see a dragon, fine. Yep. I'll take it.
Yep.
Put it on my Instagram. So, there's actually weirder things, allegedly, in the lake besides dragons.
What?
During the late 1950s, a Tu-104 jet crashed into the lake after it was allegedly pursued by an unknown metallic vehicle. Local fishermen said that they saw powerful lights coming from the deep, objects flying up from the water, chasing the plane until it crashed into the lake. Apparently, the pilot from this specific incident radioed a message to air traffic controllers informing them that they were being attacked.
Yikes.
But apparently yikes is fucking right in the 1950s. Like, oof. Which was not 50 years ago. Fun fact.
70 years ago. Hey-oh. Yuck.
Yeah, that's how time works. Yeah. So apparently all staff on duty at the time were forced to sign non-disclosure agreements, but numerous community members and fishermen attested to viewing the attack and describing a silver flying saucer type vehicle chasing the plane until it plummeted into the water, and I think the craft itself plummeted into the water and disappeared from sight. Yes. No conclusive evidence, just testimonies, and no official records that this has ever happened has surfaced, so...
Just, wait, do you remember, Avatar very much?
I tried rewatching it, but you know what? It was so soothing to, like, my memories of 2010 me that, like, I fell asleep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all I can think of when you're like, oh, but there's no evidence and they sign non-disclosure agreements is when the guy, like, goes and takes him and hypnotizes him and he's like, there's no war in Ba Sing Se. That's in Lake Laogai where they're hypnotizing people.
So... In July 2009, the Russian Navy declassified its records of encounters with UFOs and USOs, which is unidentified submerged objects, as well as unidentified flying objects. Okay, this was in 2009, which I'm surprised that this wasn't a bigger deal in my life in 2009. I was gonna say, I am surprised, but I'm not.
Did you graduate from high school then? Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I was sitting at home doing absolutely nothing, waiting to go to school. But the CIA in the United States here released their documents in like 2017 or 2016. Like way after Russia was like, yeah, fuck it, UFOs, USOs. We don't know what's out there. Something's flying around / swimming around with us. But here you go. So one of the most bizarre reports included in their released documents was an event that occurred in 1982 during a routine Soviet military training dive. This was at a depth of 50 meters. While conducting a research mission, 7 Russian Navy divers noticed that they were being watched by anomalous humanoid figures swimming nearby, which, no thank you.
Yuck.
They watched as several curious creatures approached them, which, like, I can only imagine being frozen in literal frozen water, of just being like, I mean, I don't know what time of the year this was. It could have been fine.
It's probably cold, though.
And just being frozen physically, watching these creatures approach them. Apparently they wore no modern equipment. They had some sort of metallic tight-fitting suit and a helmet-like apparatus, which, like, if you're saying helmet-like apparatus, I can only imagine what that means. Like, obviously it's something that covers the head, but it sounds freaky. Yeah, but I know, but they're not like, oh, a helmet.
I just picture, like...
they looked like a diver.
I just picture, like, a bubble.
That's kind of what I picture, too, but it just still freaks me out. But yeah, so they had a helmet-like apparatus that covered their heads, and then, upon closer inspection, the divers noticed that these beings were nearly 10 feet tall. So, like, even if one of your fucking Russian Navy divers were, like, 6'4", that's still very much bigger than you.
That's 2 of you.
That is 2
I
of
know.
me. It is exactly
That's
2
why
of me.
that.
And I find it hilarious, like, for whoever was their biggest, scariest Russian Navy diver to be confronted with this.
Be like...
and to be like,
oh, hey, man, what's up?
My favorite thing is for, like, very large people, and I'm not saying large in any particular way, but just, like, the person who is 6'5" at all, in any respect, short. To feel fucking small. I'm like, yeah, that's right. You're not the biggest guy around here anymore.
Yeah, that's how that feels. That's how that feels every time you, like, make fun of us shorties.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, so they noticed that they were 10 feet tall, and these creatures were swimming around them. He just casually were like, y'all are very tall. And then the creatures disappeared into the lake, okay? They just swam away. So then, they obviously went to the surface, and they told their commander all about what just happened. What do you think their commander fucking did? He ordered them to go right back in the water and capture what they just saw. Which, like, can you imagine your 6'5", 300-pound Russian Navy diver coming out of the water, shaking, frozen in fear, saying, we just saw these crazy creatures that were 10 feet tall. They had to be so tall. Like, I looked small compared to them. And the commander, who was probably like 4'9", was like, no, get back in the water. And also, here's a net. And don't come back up until you catch me one of those motherfuckers. Like, just
what,
saying.
sir? Yeah, you heard what I said. Go fucking catch one. Go on.
Yeah, no, literally sent them back down there with nets, okay? So following this experience of being told to go back into the water, the 7 divers all re-entered the water, but the entities emerged again. They weren't scared of the people.
Big surprise, because they were huge.
One diver, who we can only assume was the 6'5", 300-pound Russian Navy diver that we've all known and loved for the last 2.5 minutes, attempted to catch the large humanoid creature in a net. And at that moment, so the documents say, allegedly, the entities reacted.
I don't...
Which is my favorite part of all that is, like, they reacted. Like, that's not fucking good. No,
you know what I picture is, like, I picture, like, these humanoid-looking things. They see them and they see the net. And then for some reason I picture their arms and legs, like, going around, like, a cuddle, like, and propelling them kind of like a cuttlefish or something. I don't know why. That's just what I picture.
Just, like, yeah. That would be great if that was what they did, but that's not what they did. They pulled out some sort of device that looked apparently like a gun and shot an intense wave, which they believed was like a sonar wave, and that generated a huge, powerful force, as I can only imagine, from underwater that propelled these divers to the surface immediately.
Good thing they didn't die from, was it like getting the bends?
Oh, no, it is #the bends, okay? Catapulting upwards from those kind of depths is for sure going to give you the bends and have devastating effects on your personal being. And that is exactly what happened.
Wait, they got the bends?
Yeah, 3 of them died.
Oh my god!
Yeah, the remaining 4 of the remaining 4 divers, Jesus fucking
he
Christ,
got there in the end.
Needed immediate, yeah, they needed immediate medical attention, and there's actually a story that says that there was only 1 decompression chamber in the area at the time, and so they had to put all 4 of them in the decompression chamber to save their lives. Which is like, I can imagine a decompression chamber maybe being big enough for 2 people.
Like 4?
4, I think, is overdoing it.
Like when,
that seems like a lot.
It's like when Corbin Dallas shoves them all into his freezer.
Yes! That is exactly what I imagine. Oh my god.
Sure, we won't all fit. Sure you will. Ah! That's exactly what I picture.
Auto wash. Fucking love that movie.
It's the best.
Yeah. So that is the freakiest story, I feel like, that is out of Lake Baikal. According to the end of those documents, the divers were too terrified to speak out about the incident, which fucking checks out.
Yeah.
Like, that's what was released just from the documents themselves. They are like, oh no, we're not fucking talking about it. We're done.
Like, bye.
After that embarrassment of a decompression chamber, no, I can never talk about that
Where
again.
we all became one person.
1 4 become 1. I need a chamber like I've never needed one before. Wanna decompress with you, baby.
There's a cover for you. Oh my god. Oh, a Wonderlust cover.
I saw a little alien. Now I'm back for more. Yeah, I got a net for ya.
Can you, like, I can't even picture, like, that's definitely hell.
Yeah.
I wonder how long did they have to be in there for?
I don't know, and honestly, I don't think my mind could take it. I think that me not knowing that is
probably the best
of this ignorance.
Yeah.
Like, that's where my line is, where I'm like, nope, I'm okay to be ignorant about that, because I don't want to have freaky ass dreams about that later. So in April 2009, which is actually before they released the documents, which I find interesting, may have influenced them one way or another. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You decide for yourself. But astronauts aboard the International Space Station photographed 2 circular convection breaks in the ice of Lake Baikal, which, like, when the lake freezes over, it's like 7 feet fucking thick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a thick ass layer of ice that you can't just, like, penetrate easily. I'll send you the pictures, but it literally is very stereotypically UFO, like flying saucer. It looks like a little flying saucer, like, tried to come up from the bottom of the lake, and it, like, hit the wall, and it was like, oh no! And didn't make it.
It's more terrifying, the thought of, like, aliens and UFOs coming from outer space, or from them coming, like...
Or coming from in the Earth.
In the Earth, yeah. I think both
just,
are terrible.
I'm telling you, we're just ants on a log.
Ugh.
Just doing around the world. Not fucking a clue at all.
I don't like that.
Yeah, so there was 2 breaks that they photographed. Okay, so one of them was near the lake center. The other one was positioned to Baikal's southern end. Both appeared to look exactly the same. Okay, and they were perfectly symmetrical and measured 3 miles in diameter, which, if we refer back to our Manhattan comparison, Manhattan is 13 miles long, so that's almost a third of Manhattan times 2 tried to break through the fucking lake.
So I just looked at the picture. Yeah, I looked at the pictures. I don't like it.
It's isn't it?
Like
it's like something's going on there, and the Russian Navy was like, "Yeah, we don't know what the fuck is going on. Here's our documents. There may or may not be aliens in our lake."
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm good.
Yeah.
3 miles in diameter? That's just fucking nuts.
But you have to think about, like, the significance of being able to see that from the space station and be like, whoa, what's that? You know what I mean? Like, you're in the space station. It's not like you're in a fucking plane.
Yeah. That's just nuts. Yeah, I don't like the circles in the ice. That's weird.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Lake Baikal is full of weird shit. And apparently extraterrestrials. There was another weird incident that took place in 2011, also in April. So it could have been like an April Fool's kind of thing. I don't know when it happened in April. Apparently, dozens of people reported seeing a glowing pink and blue object turtle towards the ground, and it hit and it crashed really loudly and impacted the area sort of near Lake Baikal, sort of in the southern, like, Irkutsk, I think is how you say it, region. But it did receive widespread coverage in Russia because apparently, allegedly, an alien body was discovered.
What?
So there...
Wait, when was
this?
There is
footage in 2011, which was 10 years ago, almost in 2 months.
Okay. Was it, was it like a little alien body in the snow? Oh, yeah. I remember!
Yeah. Yeah, it's on YouTube, and it, like, the YouTube videos, like, show, like, a dude with a cameraman, and he's like, oh, look at this, there's a body, and there's, like, wreckage and whatever. Now, in the video, it's, like, a very quintessential, stereotypical type alien. It's a small, grayish, body, and it has the big, opaque eyes that are staring,
blankly
off into the distance, because it's quote-unquote dead. Something appears to have been ripped off its leg, which is weird, yeah. But it's small. Like, it's not, like, the people that are investigating it on the video have to be, like, in a height range of, like, 5'7" to 6 foot. And this thing is much smaller than them. Which, if you're gonna do a hoax of Lake Baikal, like, do your fucking research. The internet was around in 2011. You could have easily found out that there was, like, these big, large aliens and done, like, a proper hoax that we could at least pretend to believe. I would appreciate that. I want to believe in weird, freaky shit. Give me a reason
Give me a better one.
Yeah. So, obviously, like, viewers of this are torn either way of the authenticity of the video. Some people do believe that it's genuine, but other people think that it's, like, a crafty hoax. So, you look it up, see what you think. But
I do remember that, though, because it was, like, a video, and it was, like, laying in the snow, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there's, like, pictures of it, too. I think they, like... I was going to say, I think they confiscated it. But, like, some sort of inspecting agency came out and, like, took it and took pictures of it. So there's, like, official pictures of it as well. But it's kind of like the whole fairy hoax thing, you know? Which, honestly, here's how I feel about the do you remember the fairy hoax?
No.
You don't remember that?
No.
Oh, man, it had to be out of England or Ireland or Scotland or Wales or the Isle of Man or one of those.
Yeah. One of those.
Somewhere around that area. But no, it was this fairy that was, like, found. And again, it was one of those things where it's, like, sensationalized in the media. There's all these pictures of the body itself. And they determine that it's a hoax. But it's like, how do you determine that it's a hoax? Or do you just say that? Like, do you just say that it's a hoax so that way we don't have to worry about it and we can go on with our everyday lives? Or do you say that it's a hoax because it's clearly made out of polymer clay?
I was going to say,
you know?
probably that one. Oh, was it?
Yeah, but I need evidence of that. I need you to report that in the article. Like, oh, the fairy was made from polymer clay, and the sculptor was Jorge Jorgensen.
Yeah?
Which, yes,
okay.
I gave him a Spanish and Swedish name.
I was going to say, that was very creative. You know, good job.
It was very European of me. No big deal.
Was it the quote-unquote mummified fairy?
Yeah.
I don't know, they say...
But either way, I feel like my point is that if you're gonna fucking make an elaborate hoax, like, kudos to you for getting people to believe it because of how great you are at art.
See, that's what I would aspire to
snaps,
do. Yeah.
Snaps for you. I think that's awesome. I think either way, like, I really don't care if it's a hoax or not. Like, if you have the artistry and the creativity and the time to make that shit look real enough for people to investigate it, like, that's bad. That's almost as badass as actually finding a cryptid or, like, a creature itself. So that's just my 2 cents.
I definitely agree with that.
Anyways, so that's Lake Baikal, not a salty crack. Pearl of Russia.
The freshest of cracks.
It's the freshest of cracks, freshest of pearls. Yep. You know, think what you want about that.
I think we should stick with the freshest of cracks. I just can't stop laughing at that. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. But yeah. So that's that.
Man, that was a good one. Lake Baikal.
Oh, thanks.
There is no war in Ba Sing Se.
Yeah, and there's no dragon in Baikal. Or is there? We don't know. Anyways.
So my story, this is a less weird story and more just, horrific ancient true crime. And this is the story of Boudicca. Who was a Celtic queen in the British Isles. She was born around AD 25 to 30. So for my American friends, I'm not making this up. This is the year 25 to the year 30 is when she was, approximated to be born. Approximately born? Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, there are places that have history that is that old. So I learned about her when we lived in England and from our history teacher. from my teacher. So her name is Boudicca, but it was also pronounced Boudicca for a while. And it was thought that this was an alternate, like, spelling or name for her, but actually it was just a fucking spelling error by the Romans. So nowadays, compared to when we grew up, the accepted way to say her name is Boudicca, not Boudicca. Because I remember learning both, personally, but that's just me. Queen Boudicca was a Celtic, okay, I'm going to say this right, Iceni tribe. She was a woman in the Celtic Iceni tribe. Sorry, I got really excited about saying that the right way. I looked it up this time. And she's one of the earliest named Britons in documented history. Obviously documented by the Romans because they were the bureaucrats, the first bureaucrats, and they wrote everything down. And so her story was recorded, I think, a couple hundred years after her, or 150 years after her death. But she was one of the earliest named Britons, or Celtic people, or people. Britons means somebody from Britain in documented history.
So how infamous do you have to be for, like, 150 years after your death, you're still trending enough for someone to be like, we need to write this shit down?
They, like, made a little, like, place to, like, not worship her, like a little temple, I don't know, it was like a little, anyways, I'm gonna get to that point.
But like a memorial.
Yeah, they made a memorial for her, for sure, the Celts did. So, anyways, we'll get to that later. She was born around the year 25 to year 30 to an elite family in Camoldunum, which is now Colchester, which is close to where we used to live.
How close was that to where we used to live?
It's in East Anglia. It's not that far. So Colchester is just south of Bury St. Edmunds, and it's west of Ipswich. So in the year, so when she was 18 or maybe less, she married the king of the Iceni tribe, whose name was Prasutagus, maybe, in Norfolk, which is where we lived. Yes, I see you covering your yawn.
I'm shocked by the information. Thank you.
Untrue. Probably close to 43, the year 43 AD. So around that same time, the Romans conquered most of southern England, and most of the Celtic tribes were forced to submit. However, they let the Prasutagus guy, which was Boudicca's husband, continue leading his people as a forced ally of the empire. This was with, the emperor was called Claudius at the time. In AD 54, Emperor Claudius was poisoned by his wife, and
why?
So that her son could become emperor, and this was Nero, who everybody knows is a bad guy because he sucked.
Because his name is Nero, or because he sucked? Both?
Both, because he was the original Nero, and people think of Nero as a bad guy name because this guy sucked. His rules associated with tyranny, extravagance, and debauchery. He also is rumored to have killed his own mom a couple years after she killed his stepdad for him. No one's sure why, although it's said that she did this to be controlling. So, really, I'm just saying all of this to say that, like, the Romans conquered most of southern England. Boudicca's husband was allowed to remain ruling his people as the king of the Iceni tribe, but this was an agreement under the previous emperor, Claudius, who is now dead in this line of our story, and Nero is the emperor. When Claudius died, Nero elevated him to the status of a god and ordered a temple to be built for him at Colchester. because he didn't want people to think that he had killed his stepdad or his adoptive dad. So they ordered a temple to be built for him at Colchester, and he made the Celtic chieftains finance the extravagant temple and worship the guy who took the land from them. Okay, so this is just, there's unrest a-bubbling, right?
And it's, like, so mysterious, like, where America gets it from. Like,
this is where it comes from.
I mean, literally, tale it's like, as old as time. Day 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Year, when did he die? Year 54 we're at. So, in AD 60, Boudica is in her 30s to possibly 40. Her husband, the king, dies without a male heir. Boudica herself has 2 daughters with her husband. And when the king died, he left his wealth in a will to his wife and daughters, so Boudica and their daughters, and Emperor Nero, hoping that this would appease the Roman emperor and, give his family and the Celtic tribe protection from the wrath of the Roman Empire, essentially. However, his plan failed. The Romans do what they were good at. They annexed the kingdom and took the land of the Iceni tribe. They publicly flogged Boudica and raped her 2 daughters. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
And, they took everything and, left them in ruin, basically.
Oh my God.
Boudica immediately promised vengeance. And
as you do.
I would. And, as somebody in the Iceni tribe, the women were also trained as warriors. So she's pissed. They fucking took everything. They, beat her and her daughters and humiliated them and took everything from them. And also, she's grown up seeing that these Romans have taken the land from all of her countrymen. You know what I mean? Around her. So, she calls on the neighboring tribes. And was like, hey, you gonna get back at these fuckers? And they're like, yes, we do. And they elect her as their leader. So, it should be noted that in 55 BC, 100 years previously, Julius Caesar invaded Britain, but the Celts were able to drive them out of England. And so there's the belief that this inspired their rebellion as well, because they're like, well, if our ancestors could do it 100 years ago, then we can fucking do it. You know what I mean? And the other tribes, were so sick of the shit, they're like, yep, we're joining this rebellion. We're gonna do it. They stockpiled what armor and weapons they could. However, the Romans had previously, taken away all their weapons and all that stuff, so they were really poorly equipped at this point. But they did what they could, and they planned their attack. Their first attack was on Colchester, which is Camoldunum. I'm going to pretend like I said that right. And at this time...
Sounded right.
And at this time, this was the Roman capital in Britain. For that to be the Roman capital in Britain, all the settlers had kicked out the natives and claimed their lands and possessions for themselves. They called the Celts captives, made them slaves, and the people who settled in Colchester were primarily Roman veterans, which meant that they did this on purpose so that they wouldn't need to have an army posted there to keep, the Celts in line, essentially. So they use their army, the veterans as if need be, you will also be, keep these guys in line, but you're not technically still an army kind of thing.
Yeah, right. We had you at one point. Yeah. And if we never need you, you better fucking listen.
Yeah, exactly. And so between the brutality and the anger against the Roman settlers and veterans, plus this temple that Nero constructed, that was this gaudy monstrosity that he made the Celts pay for and worship his dad in, essentially. This was a really big focal point for resentment and anger. So they attacked Colchester. It was poorly defended, and it was destroyed by Boudicca and her forces in 2 days. Somehow, they managed to behead a bronze statue of Nero, which is fun. I don't know how they did that, but they did. And archaeologists say that there's proof that the city was methodically demolished. So it's not like they're just like, okay, let's chase everybody out, and yay, we win. No, they fucking demolished this place. Like, it's done. Wow. So next place they go is a place called Londinium, which is, you guessed it, London. It's a new settlement founded in AD 43. It was a thriving commercial center. There was a lot of trading. There was a small portion of, it was mostly civilians and stuff because it was mostly trading since it was like right on the water and the river and all that stuff. A small portion of the army arrived before Boudicca and their forces, but they knew that they didn't stand a chance against all the Celts, so they evacuated everyone that they could and, tried to leave before she got there. But Boudicca and the rebels burned it all down, and they killed anybody in their way. Archaeology shows that the destruction extended across the Thames as well. So it's just like complete, destruction. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, right? What? It's true. Anyways, so the last location was Verulalium. I'm not gonna try and say that. It's called,
which is now Essex. No, just kidding.
It's St. Albans, which is about 20 miles northwest of London. Also burned and taken, but there's not really a good idea of to what extent that was done. All in all, between these three cities, there's estimated a total between 70 and 80,000 people died. The Britons, the Celts, had no interest in captives whatsoever, and they killed people by fire, gibbet, or cross.
What's the second one?
So you know in A Knight's Tale, where they have somebody up in a cage. It's like the beginning of The Knight's Tale, and you see them in the background. They're in a cage, hanging, and just die from the elements.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically that.
Wow.
Yeah. So
oh my god. So it's just death by exposure in a cage.
Yeah, essentially, yes.
Literally exposed to everyone as well as the elements. Yep. Wow.
So, but at this point, the Romans are like, oh shit, this is actually kind of serious. So they rally about 10,000 men and take a stand in an unidentified location. They actually still don't really know where that location is, which is super interesting to me. But it was probably somewhere on the Roman road, which is, Romans kind of built they were the ones that sort of invented the interstate. So Eisenhower and the interstate got his ideas from the Roman road. And it was basically these paved roads that made it easier to move troops and stuff like that. So people think it's somewhere in the Midlands along that road between Londinium and somewhere in Wales that I can't pronounce. No, I can't do it. They were severely outnumbered by the Britons. So they used the location to aid them. They had the forest to his back and a wide, flat field out in front of him. And then, and then a gorge protected the Roman flanks from attack, and the forest protected them from the rear. So the only way that the Celts could attack was across the plain, the flat field, but that meant that any ambush was impossible because it was a flat, open field, and they could see them.
This reminds me of Outlander. I have no idea how historically accurate it is, but there was a battle that they won, that the Jacobites and the Scottish, Highlanders won before the Battle of Culloden, and it was kind of like that, where they were backed up to a forest, and, they had, a good, and then they had, a ravine or something like that. Anyways, environmentally, what you're describing is very similar to that to me.
Yeah.
Visually.
And they definitely, he definitely made the most of what he could, because he only had 10,000 men.
So did the Romans win?
Hold on, I'm getting there. So when Boudica met them, she led the troops from a chariot, and she's described, which we don't know how accurate this is, because it might have been romantically embellished later on.
What?
I know, right?
History?
But she's described as being, like a tall, fierce woman with a lot of red hair.
So Merida?
Yeah, essentially. So she leads the troops on from a chariot, and she does her whole, she does a Braveheart speech, rallying the troops. She is quoted as saying, "It is not as a woman descended from noble ancestry, but as one of the people that I am avenging lost freedom, my scored body, and the outraged chastities of my daughters." So basically she's saying, hey, I'm not here as a queen. I'm here because these fuckers took everything from me, and we're gonna get them back.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Iceni were very poorly equipped because they had been disarmed by the Romans. As I said, any weapons that they did have, they sort of had to scrounge for. And they had brought their families with them because they were sure that there was going to be victory. So there's a massive frontal attack, and, Celts are charging, ready to fucking go, but these Celts don't have any armor. They have poorly made weapons, whatever they could find that was scrounged, and they're up against the fucking full bureaucracy that is the Romans. Their armor, their shields, and I don't know if you remember this from when we were kids and stuff, but, they're crazy with their shield formations and with their battle tactics.
Yeah.
There's very regimented, obviously, an effective army, which is how they were able to conquer so much. So, Celts charge, but the Romans combated with a long-range pile is what it's called. It's like a type of javelin. And the Romans had clear advantage with their armor and their weapons, and they had advantage in close quarters fighting. And they had cavalry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, now this is just making me think of the Battle of Culloden. This is terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible. So they also had cavalry. So the cavalry are running them down. The Romans have a benefit of having short swords, which are good for slashing in close quarters, whereas the Celts had longer ones at the time, which are not ideal for close combat like that. And basically, between their poor weapons and no armor and up against the, organized might of the Romans, they're...
And didn't you say there was, 10,000 of them?
The Romans had 10,000. There were more of the Celts.
Yeah. Oh, there were more of the Celts. Oh, okay. All right.
But they, because of the Romans' clear advantage with the armor, weapons, and the close quarters fighting and the cavalry, the Britons were slaughtered, essentially. They tried to flee, but they were blocked by the carriages with their families and their women and children in them, and everybody was killed. Women, children, even the animals.
Wow.
Boudica herself is said to have poisoned herself instead of being killed by the Romans, or, that's the story that I heard, and I remember specifically, sitting at Elvedon as, an 8-year-old and hearing Mrs. Fielder tell us the story about this woman who would rather kill herself, and she poisoned herself rather than be captured by the Romans. I remember. But apparently it's also possible that she just fell ill. Either way, she was given a lavish funeral. Once she was dead. So her story was recorded by 2 Roman historians, somebody named Tacitus and Dio Cassius. And honestly, these stories might have been forgotten completely if it weren't for the fact that Tacitus's writings were rediscovered in the 16th century. And they really liked this because in the 16th century, it was Queen Elizabeth I. And so they regarded it as, a parallel to the reigning queen. It's also maybe where they think that the red hair might have been embellished because they might have just said that to make her seem like Queen Elizabeth at the time. Victorians also really liked the story of Queen Boudicca they reinvented her as a sort of valiant upholder of British nationhood and weirdly twisted it to justify colonialism, which is ironic considering that she was fighting the colonialism of the Romans, but whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's a really famous statue built by Thomas Thornycroft at Westminster Bridge in London of Queen Boudicca. And one of the quotes that I read that I really liked, it says History Extra. It says, however, far from losing her own power, Boudicca lived on across the empire as a cautionary tale of what happens when you let a woman rule. It's ironic, then, that her legacy has endured, whereas Paulinus, which is the guy who defeated her, whereas Paulinus's name has faded. The idea of a British warrior queen battling a foreign army was invoked in the 16th century by Queen Elizabeth I to help legitimize her right to rule and to fight against the Spanish Empire, and by Queen Victoria in the 19th century in her bid to rule an empire. So, she lost, technically, but she's obviously become a really important symbol for, British history. She was also, used as a heroine for the British suffragette movement, get women's rights. And another article says, yes, the revolt was ultimately unsuccessful, but Boudicca's legend lives on. The Romans had been given more than a bloody nose. They had suffered a defeat at the hands of people they thought of as barbarians and a sex they thought of as inferior. Which was
damn right they did.
So today, there's not a typical view of her, other than, kind of honestly, the Merida view. But, there's a couple of different things that have happened recently. One, they think that they may have found, so this was in January 14th of 2021, so this was a month ago. They were digging for a housing development in Essex, and they came across a Roman, it turned into a Roman archaeological excavation. They think it's possible it could be the site of the Boudiccan revolt. There was a lot of items found, including beads, brooches, rings, pottery, etc. from that time.
I feel like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but how many times was our life interrupted
archaeological
by an archaeological dig?
Yeah, I know. Several.
As
several
children.
Times. Yeah.
Right? It was a handful of times. So it's this is not surprising to me at all. But when I talk to people about what they wanted to be when they grow up, and it's and I mentioned archaeology, and they're like, what? And I'm like, you don't understand, though. Archaeology was popping when I was a kid. So the
thing that kills me is when I talk about archaeology with American kids, they're like, oh, because of Indiana Jones, right? And I'm like, no, because I literally lived in an archaeological dig constantly for my childhood.
Literally, it's weren't they building a new building
on base? Yeah, but don't talk about that too much because I might want to bring that up at another episode. But yet,
well, there was a dig involved.
Yeah, exactly. It was just a constant throughout our lives.
Yeah, it really was.
So, another one. 23 December of 2020. Again, not that long ago. There was this cute little metal detector enthusiast and bird watcher.
My aspirations as an adult.
So, this little guy, he's bird watching. He spotted a buzzard. He's very excited. And he's watching these buzzards. Yeah. And see if they fight. And then, out of the corner of his eye, he sees a glint of gold. And he looks down. Yeah, he looks down and rubs the mud off of it and sees that it's an old coin. And he's in this, like, field where he's bird watching. So he's like, oh my goodness. So he runs home and gets his little metal detector, which of course he has. And he brings it back to the field. He unearthed 1,300 coins, circa 40 to 50 AD. And it's valued at, the hoard that he unearthed is valued at around 850,000 pounds, or $1.7 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, dude, that's a reason to invest in a metal detector.
I mean, I feel like metal detecting is more justified in England than here, personally, but that's just me, because the U.S. is so big, like...
Personally, I agree.
But, like, yeah. So, also, fun fact, in England, if something is of, like, significant historical... No, if it's of historical significance, sometimes they won't let you keep what you've found. If you yawn again, I'm gonna murder you.
Stop bringing it up. I am actively participating. It's a condition. My heater is off and I'm cold.
So in England, if it's of like huge historical significance, they sometimes won't let you keep what you found, but they'll make you sell. So they'll still give you money for what you found, but they'll just make you sell it for what it's worth. So
who's they?
The government will make you sell. To, I'm assuming,
oh, wow, allegedly.
I'm assuming to, like, the British Museum. So, in this case, too, this hoard that's worth this much money, if he does sell any of the profits, he has to split with the guy who owned the field, which I thought was interesting. It makes sense.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's
I know, but it's just, like, things you don't think about when you're, like, you know, thinking about finding treasure.
Yeah, but how shitty would you feel if, like, some dude rolled up with a metal detector in your backyard and unearthed 13,000 GD coins from the dawn of time of that land?
But yeah.
And, well, same diff or riff, but, like, literally. I mean, yeah, no, that would be nice to be like, yeah, I mean, this is my land. I could have found it, but I didn't. So, yeah.
But...
Also, such a British
I know,
vibe,
right?
By the way,
like,
but...
yeah. Also, like, goals to be, like, a metal detector enthusiast and bird watcher and then just find a hoard of money. Thank you. Please, let that be me. But anyways, so that's the story of Queen Boudicca, who, you know, made quite an impression on me as a child.
Yeah, I did not remember learning about her at all.
Yeah, I remember learning about her at Elvedon, like I said, from Mrs. Fielder with that horrific story of her killing herself to avoid capture. And then also, I remember going to Colchester Castle, and they talked a lot about Boudicca, and we were supposed to make something with Boudicca's face on it, which, like you said, ended up looking...
Which we did.
Yes, which ended up looking like Medusa.
100%. I thought we were making a shrine to Medusa. I was confused as to what our purpose in that artistic endeavor was. But I fully remember going to Colchester Castle and, like, doing all the other weird things, like trying on chainmail.
I also feel like... I feel like I didn't mention it. But, like, this was, like, the biggest... Even though it was unsuccessful, it was, like, one of the biggest rebellions against the Roman Empire at the time. It was a big fucking deal. And...
So
Go ahead.
Well, no, finish what you were saying.
I was gonna say... And it was led by a badass woman who was sick of their shit.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. No, my question was really, like... who decided the years? Were these years determined by the Roman Empire of like, this is year 43 that the Roman Empire has been in place? So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand the whole AD, BC thing.
So I think...
It's probably a bad time to ask. I was going to say,
I think it's a terrible time to ask. But I think
sorry.
And I could be terribly wrong, so please don't yell at me, anybody out there. But I think that the Romans came up with it once they converted to Christianity, and they decided that Jesus was born in the year 0, essentially.
But then they had to count all the years that they were an empire before Jesus.
Yeah. So that's when they decided that was BC.
Okay, so I wasn't that far off, according to our theory, allegedly, that we haven't actually looked up or
essentially,
verified.
Yes.
Cool. Well, that makes me feel great.
We are right in our own minds.
We are correct, obviously, and we will check eventually. Maybe
we'll come back to it later. But yeah, it was just one of those stories that I always liked hearing about as a kid, even though it was gruesome and, full of violence, but I don't know.
Yeah, but like what isn't?
But it's also...
when you look back on stories
I was gonna say,
of when you were a kid... What isn't gruesome and
violent? And it's like one of the earliest tales of somebody sticking it to the man in like year 42, 43.
Yeah, that's true. 42 is my lucky number as a kid.
I just think of...
I won Paddington Bear from my raffle ticket. It was number 42.
Oh my god, at the Fate? The Village Fate, wasn't it? Yeah.
I mean, no, it was at the school, but yeah.
I was thinking of...
Yeah. I picked 42 and 48, and 42 won. And ever since then, I was like, you are my lucky number.
I don't think I have a lucky number.
I thought you used to tell me as a kid that I would ask you, and you'd be like, my lucky number is like 13 or 7. Which, did you know? Actually, I shouldn't even say it, but I'm going to say it.
Yeah, you are. Just say it.
All right. Well, I might want to talk about it later.
Oh, okay, then don't.
Just like you might want to talk about your archaeological dig that may or may not have allegedly happened.
I always want to talk about archaeological digs. Let's be real.
All right. Well, the number 13 is actually, it's there's like a lot of weird things about it, but I will want to like delve into it later. But one of the weird things is that there are 13 like cycles in a woman's menstrual year because of it's every 28 days. So it's like a lunar lady number. So I actually kind of like the number 13.
Lunar lady number.
Yeah, that's how I think of it now. And it was so funny because I think about all those times I've gone to tattoo shops
Friday
to get like
tattoos.
Friday the 13th tattoos. And I'm like, who the fuck would get number 13 tattooed on me? And then I found that out and I was like, oh, I would do that. I would do that, actually.
I would. That's me. I would do that.
Yep. So
yeah, that's my story.
I liked it.
Of a lady in her 30s sick of men's shit.
Yep.
I can relate.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a good one. I like Miss Boudicca. She'll keep me, I don't even know.
Okay.
I was gonna try to say something like she'll keep my nightmares away, but for some reason the first thing I thought of was she'll keep me warm at night, and that felt wrong, and I'm explaining it, and it just really feels like an unwelcome visit to my mind, so yep. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, we all went on a journey just then. It was good.
Mm. So, if you like us, you can follow us on Instagram at
wonderlust.pod.
What?
Oh my god, what's happening? Stop it. I think my sister's gonna fall asleep. So, if you...
No, I'm not gonna fall asleep. I'm trying to mess with you.
I know, it's working.
All right. So you can follow us on Instagram at what?
I'm gonna punch you a lot.
At wonderlust.pod and on Twitter at pod wonderlust.
Have we even...
And
did we even set up our
post
Twitter?
Anything on Twitter is set up, but we have not tweeted because I am afraid of the internet. I wanna read everything on it, but I'm afraid of writing my own.
I mean, I feel the same way. That's why I was like, yeah, I'll do the Instagram, but then on the Twitter, I'm like, I'm good.
Basically, if you are listening to this and you like have a question or something, you want to say something to us, you can tweet us and we will see it there.
Or just message us on Instagram. That's fine too.
Ugh, don't clog up our DMs.
But yeah, you know, if you guys have any weird ideas
or leave us a 5-star review. It's fine.
Well, definitely do that. And if you're not going to do that, then just stop listening to us right now. Because, like, we don't need that kind of negativity in our life.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to keep going regardless of how many stars you give us. But 5 would be magnificent.
Thank you. But yeah.
Yeah, and also leave us your recommendations for Bluetooth headphones. Because some of us are in the market and we're not sure which ones to get.
Also same, actually. Because I'm using my gaming headphones, which means that I have to be very close to my laptop because this cord is meant to hook into a... Are you falling asleep?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm literally just sitting here. I'm like, I'm waiting for you to finish your sentence.
Into my controller. I'm watching...
For real.
Maybe it just froze. It just looked like you really long blinked to sleep. Like, that's what it...
No, I'm not Dad. I'm not going to just fall asleep vertical. Like, I can't even fall asleep horizontal, y'all. Like...
Same, though. It's a struggle. Welcome to adulthood.
It is a struggle.
But yeah, follow us on all the social medias.
You can't not sound like that.
I really don't like you at all. Please follow us on all the social medias. I'm going to sound cute, not like my father. Send us messages. If you have ideas that you would like to hear us discuss on this wonderful podcast of weirdness and supernaturalness. Man, I was on such a roll.
Yes. No, you were really good. Wait. Supernaturalness and an extraordinary combination of intricate... Oh, it's an intricate combination of exceptional natural factors.
Oh, yeah. That's us, for sure.
We are exceptional natural factors. We are literally the closest thing either of us can get to a twin.
So fucking terrible. God.
Some people call it supernatural, but you can decide for yourself.
It's probably good that we're, like, recording this, like, long distance. Otherwise, I would probably just, like, slowly, like, shove you over.
Oh, man. My chair agrees with me, so that's all that matters.
Is it?
Yeah.
Have we decided on how to, like, sign off on this yet?
No, I think we're just gonna, like, sail right into the mystic, and,
What?
It's a song by Morrison.
Okay. Well.
James Morrison?
Stop it. Isn't it Jimmy? I don't know.
I don't think it's Jimmy. I think it's Jim.
It's Jim now.
It's Jim now. Jim Morrison. It might be Jim
I
Morrison.
think it is.
We were born before... I can't
believe we did that, though.
It's 1 a.m. Into the mystic.
It's Jim Morrison. Yeah.
It fucking is! Oh, it's Van! It's Van, babe. It's
what?
Van. It's Van Morrison.
No, it says Jim Morrison.
No, it does not. This is Van. Song by Van Morrison.
Jim Morrison is from The Doors, though.
I
thought that's who you're talking about.
No. So, okay. Heard that. So, like, live your wonderlusty life. Go out there and learn about weird things.
Question everything.
Follow weird subreddits. Question everything.
Also.
And think about it. Also.
If you pay attention enough, everything is weird. Just think about it. You're welcome for that tidbit. And on that note.
And we are going to leave you with that. Hope you guys have a great time. And we'll see you again soon.
See you next time.